Do you believe everyone was born with greatness, or is it something we grow into, or is it both of them?
If you set out for something in terms of your goals and you work towards it and you achieve it and you don't stop, you keep going after the next thing, after the next thing, and you just consistently keep crushing your goal, that is simply greatness, in my opinion.
How do we begin to differentiate that thin line between this is something I can achieve and this is something that I don't think I should start doing?
You want to become a billionaire. Okay, how do you want to start? How do you what do billionaires do? Billionaires don't work 9 to 5. They own businesses. How many business do you have? How many streams of income do you have? Every form of action that requires audacity also has a form of step-by-step approach to it, breaking it down into layers of activities that will help you get it done.
If you're audacious about something, you need that clear picture about who you are going to become, how you are going to become that person, and what are the steps, like you rightly mentioned, to get to that step.
Yeah. People are going to tell me, shut up, keep quiet. Why are you shouting? But I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep shouting until he hears me. So in this day and age, there is almost anything impossible. Like nothing is impossible right now. All you need to do is you have a stupid idea, you have a crazy idea, break it down into pieces and get to work. Don't get overwhelmed by the amount of work you're going to see, because you might see loads of work. Learn a lot of skills, sit down like we talked about, break down your goals and build skills and capacity that is going to help you get to where you're going.
Hello, and you're welcome back to the Insight Zone with Kenny Adeleke. Thank you for always watching our videos. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Kenny Adeleke. And also, you can also listen to us on Apple Podcast and Spotify as well. The Insight Zone with Kenny Adeleke. Just search it and you see so many episodes that we've released so far. And on today's episode, I brought in someone that I believe has the experience of what audacity means, because we all have to do some things and leap into the future and do a lot of things that we are not comfortable with. And today we want to talk about the audacity for greatness. This is something that I strongly believe that a lot of people are struggling with, and with much clarity from the guest insight, I believe it's going to really help us. And joining me today is a friend. I've known him for like how many years now? Probably 17.
2008,
Let me
that
see.
is what?
Wait. Yeah, 17, 18 years. Yeah, it's been that long. It's 2008, 18 years. I each other for that long. And I've seen, it's like I've seen its consistency over the years. And joining me today is my very good friend. His name is Moses Joshua. And he has so many titles. I don't want to call him an engineer alone. He's a music producer. He does a lot of things. I believe if you ask him, he will tell you more. But today we want to talk about audacity for greatness. And this conversations, it's basically sprung up from one of the carousels I posted on Instagram that really, that really struck a chord in me. And it's posted about shameless audacity. And that post was so good. And I said, oh, wow, you have to come and talk about this audacity for
Thank you for
greatness.
having me.
You were created for more.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Moses, for joining us. We're so glad to have you on the Inside Zone podcast. I just want us to go into the conversation like immediately. When you think about greatness, before we even talk about audacity, do you believe everyone was born with greatness, or is it something we grow into, or is it both of them as well?
I would say it's kind of like a mixture of both. But I think it is very important for someone to be really self-aware. And what I mean by that is if you're aware of yourself and your person and your dreams, your vision, your goals, anybody who has, if you have a vision, if you have a dream, if you have a goal, and you are motivated to achieve that, that is as simple as it is in terms of what can we call greatness. And you know, I think everybody's in this day and age, because of social media and the pressure and all of those, we all think greatness is when you are as popular as Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo, or you are as influential as Donald Trump, or you are as rich as Elon Musk. That's when you're great. But in my opinion, I think if you set out for something in terms of your goals and you work towards it and you achieve it, and you don't stop, you keep going after the next thing, and you just consistently keep crushing your goal. That is simply greatness, in my opinion. And you're always aiming for the next big thing. You're always raising the bar a little bit more, and you're just kind of like going up and up and up. That's pretty much greatness, in my opinion. It doesn't have to be super complicated. Continue to dream beyond your imagination, beyond your location, beyond your environment, and all of those kind of things, and you're getting it done. That is greatness. Now, back to the question so that my point kind of makes sense. You can be born with greatness, but I prefer the one where you build your character into it and you build into it.
Uh,
Like some people are fortunate to be uh the daughter or the king, the princess or the prince of Dubai, or the prince of the royal family, or you're born into the family of Donald Trump again, for example, and you're born already with that influence, with that power, with that, you know, all of those things. And the mindset of a king is totally different. And the way you are being brought up, the way you are being raised, you think differently. You don't think of impossibilities because everything you need, you always get. You don't think of anything to limit your dream. You feel like, I want to go to Harvard, and you're the son of so, 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 and so. You get in, they can afford it, they can get you in. And you want to become, you tell your dad, I want to be the next CEO of this big tech company. In fact, they're going to start the company for you. You don't have to go and apply. You get what I'm saying? So some people are born with some privileges like that, but a lot of people are not. A lot of people have to build themselves into it. A lot of people you know, have to claw their way to the top because they dream higher and they see something they want. They know that they can get it done just by sitting down, and they just decide to, jump up and go get it done. So that's kind of like the kind of greatness that inspires me, because the little kid in me can see myself in that person when they're sharing their testimony and when they're sharing their own story about where they've come from, how far they've come. That can easily inspire someone versus someone who is a daughter of a king and they have everything they need. So I think it's a mixture of both, but I like the one where you have to prove yourself and you can easily inspire the next person.
Spot
Yeah.
on, totally spot on. Because you really spoke about the difference between someone that grew up in a home where everything was available for them and someone that basically had to work their way to the top. And I just remember the story where someone was sharing that imagine a child was born in a place, let's say Singapore or Abu Dhabi, and someone was born in, let's say, Makoko in Lagos. And now they both get to the top of their field. Uh, Someone like me will resonate more with the person that grew up in Makoko because that person must have gone through a lot of order to get to the top of where they are right now. They've built leverages over the year. Meanwhile, the person that grew up in Abu Dhabi was basically born into that privilege. And you said something about you resonating more with such a kind of person that walked their way to the top and leveraging the opportunities that they meet along the way. So I want to ask you, like, growing up for you as a person, do you have those moments where You just basically realized you were playing small, that you were made for more than this particular environment that you find yourself right now. How was that for you? Just share with us.
Yeah, I think mine was more of a do or die situation in terms of I would say it's more of if you don't become great, you're gonna end up in poverty for the rest of your life. So it's more of a do or die situation where you know that where you are right now, if you stay here, you can go beyond this. You look around, you look at the community, you look at everybody around you in terms of in church, in your location, the neighborhood that you live in. Like you look all around and you just realize that I have to get out of here for something better, if I may call it that way. So I think if specifically in terms of timeline, I would say sometimes when I was in high school, probably around SS1. I don't know what that would be in terms of the Western high school grade, whatever that is. But kind of like rough estimate, maybe let's say grade 10, if I'm not
10.
wrong.
Yeah, great 10, I
Maybe as
guess.
SS1, maybe 2 years to when you're going to be leaving high school and getting into college, right? Yeah, somewhere around that time. I think my dad just passed away not too long from that time. And I know that
Oh,
you have to step up. You have to step up. I mean, not at this point in time because I was still probably like 15. No, not even 15 yet. I was like 13 at that point. So there was this NYSC copper that came to serve at my school then. I can't forget that guy's name. His name is Copper Jude. And the guy was one of the few people that made me realize that, you know, in my own hometown, we don't have anything in terms of what are the kind of jobs out there that you can do as a science student. Everybody just talk about engineer, doctor, lawyer, accountant, but engineering is also like into layers, like different form of engineering, mechanical, electrical, blah blah blah. And when you now eventually know what those different engineering fields are, then the next question is, where do these people work? Where do they work? What kind of companies do you apply to get jobs? And what kind of jobs pay you well in terms of that'll pay you so easily, so well that you're comfortable with your family, all of those things. And he was the first person that broke it down for me as a 13-year-old. Like, okay, there are companies called Shell, Chevron, Exxon. I feel like I've never had heard of those companies before. The only thing I know about those companies is they have filling station in my town. I don't know if there is I know them as filling station, gas station. I don't know them as multi-billion dollar companies. I don't know. I just think, okay, they sell fuel. That's it. Right? So he broke it down. If you're a mechanical engineer, you could do this for this kind of company. You could do this. If you're an electrical engineer, you could do this. If you're a petroleum engineer, you could do this. You can earn this kind of money. And I know, like, this is the first person coming here to break this down. And I know that, man, I gotta step it up. I have to be able to get into this kind of field, get into this kind of career, and be able to take care of myself, take care of my family the best way I can. And I know that those kind of job don't exist in this location. So the next thing is we gotta get out of this location, you know. And that was how the seed kind of came into my heart in terms of what kind of sparked that mindset of wanting more, looking beyond your location, your environment, and wanting to just become greater than what you're seeing right now, because what you're seeing is just not, it's not making sense. It's not cutting it. Yeah.
Hmm. Powerful. Like our environment plays so much value in who we are going to become because like we were just talking about, our environment can either suffocate the dreams that we have or it can basically activate that dream. Because just imagine you never met someone like Copper Jude. You might have met someone else, but it did play that big role in making you understand that beyond where you are right now, there's a bigger world outside there.
Mm.
There's so much that is going on outside and broadening your mind. And truly, mentorship is just important all the way for everyone because I feel like a mentor would just open your mind to see things faster. If you don't have a mentor, you might eventually catch up to it. But a mentor would help you reduce the number of
Mhm.
steps that you need to take and bridge that gap for you. As you were talking, something came to my mind about while you were still in such a location, but knowing that you have somewhere you're going, somewhere in the future, somewhere promising that you have envisioned, that you have seen. Did you fight any internal battles? Because there's always that disconnection between where you are and where you are seeing yourself, and trying to bridge that gap together to get to that point. There are battles that you'll fight.
Mm.
There are things that you will struggle with. Did you have to struggle with some internal battles that you had to fight just because you know you are headed somewhere? Because I believe every one of us must have gone through that.
Yeah. Okay. I would say in terms of internal battle, it's more of just believing in that motive, having that belief that this is possible. There's a way your mind has been, there's a way the environment and the things you've seen can play, like you said, a very vital role. And it can also mess up someone's mind as well when you've always grown up
Mm.
in this kind of location and everybody think success is, no disrespect to anybody, but I'm kind of just giving an honest example. Like around where you were at that time, once you get a government job, you're a government teacher and you work for the state government, federal government, you work for, you're a teacher, you're working at local government, that already is like, oh my God, you've arrived, you've succeeded, you have a stable job now, you have a stable income and all of those things. And a lot of people just shut down in terms of dreaming for more and wanting more. And also it's also because there are a lot of locations where big opportunities just don't exist. It's simple as that. When those big
Mm.
opportunities don't exist, you just have to take what is available. And like I said, what is available are those kind of opportunities. So everybody is grabbing those kind of opportunities. And once you're able to be one of the few who succeed in grabbing one of the opportunities, you feel like you've arrived and you've achieved something great. So, which is not a bad thing, it's just what is available, right? So, I have to, in my mind, one of the things that I know I wanted to do was get out of Nigeria. You know, one of the things I know I want to do was get out of Nigeria. I don't know. I know a couple of I know a family member who had left Nigeria, not like my immediate family, like my sibling or anything like that. You know, it was one of my bigger uncles, like elder brother to my dad, not even like same father, same mother, but like an uncle to my dad again, something like that. That left Nigeria with to the US with, what do they call it back in the day, long time ago?
Visa
Visa
lottery.
lottery. Yes, that's the one. Yeah. So that was the only example of someone that I knew had left Nigeria, and doing well for themselves abroad as well. So I also started thinking, okay, what's visa lottery? Started, trying to figure out. And then while we were in university, they just shut it down. Like Nigeria is no longer qualified for that, right? So that killed that dream completely. So I started thinking of what are the other opportunities. It was more of the mental thing was just more of, you don't know who can directly help you to navigate this goal that you have in terms of leaving Nigeria to go and study abroad. So it's not just about leaving Nigeria. I wanted to leave Nigeria to go and study abroad. And I had this big conviction that if I can leave this country to study abroad, there could be a lot of bigger opportunities that can open up for me in terms of what I'm looking for with career and all of those things. So even if it means coming back to Nigeria to come and work as an engineer, I felt like that degree is gonna, that was my belief that time. Like this degree is gonna help me understand this field a little bit more, learn from the best of the best as much as possible, and also be very competitive in the job market at that time. So that was my belief, but I don't know anybody from my circle who had done something like this. So I needed
Wow.
to put my I think what I would say helped me get through that period is my faith, and being a Christian and understanding that with God all things are possible, and knowing that
Right.
God can do all, that we think, all that we believe, all that we ask, all that we think. Just knowing that and having all of those convictions. So I think my faith played a major role in being able to break that mental barrier, because the barrier was you don't know anyone who has ever done this. Nobody around you has ever done this. You have to be like a trailblazer in this kind of, endeavor that you're getting yourself into. And I just had to now lean on my faith, lean on God to help me navigate through that.
Powerful, because faith basically is the force that makes us to be bold and courageous, even when it looks like the whole world is crashing down on us. And I was just thinking about our university days. We had a group and we used to study together. It really inspired us. I'll see Moses in the library reading. Probably, I don't want to exaggerate. Moses is reading, and he's a very fast reader. Because what would take me like 7 hours to read, it will probably take him like 4 hours. And so, even for me as a person, I think having that right environment around me in the university exposed me to so many possibilities. I remember back then, MTN, what's the name of this? MTN that scholarship, NNG, PTDF. I mean, like just having that exposure to people that understand that there's so many opportunities and possibilities out there. It broadened my mind. I remember you traveled, that was 2016 or 2017.
Yeah, 2016 was when I left Nigeria.
2016, just learning from that and okay, seeing people doing great things, it inspired me. I'm not going to lie to anybody listening now. Your environment plays so much a big role in who you're going to become. Just thinking about it again, I remember someone shared the story that imagine a child that grew up in a place there was no skyscraper. The child grew up, the developmental stage, started seeing the government build skyscrapers, private companies building
Mhm.
skyscrapers. Then compare it with someone that grew up in a place whereby at age 1, there's no skyscraper in their town. At age 20, skyscraper. At age 40, still in that same environment,
Mm,
there's no skyscraper. Thinking faculty is totally different.
mm,
And
mm.
I really like how you really broaden the scope of how seeing how your faith helped you to become more courageous, because sometimes you have to be the pioneer in something without any support from people, like visible
Mm.
support. And that's something that I believe a lot of people struggle with. But I also want to talk about Audacity a bit
Yeah.
now. What's Audacity to you? Let's first get that simple definition of what Audacity means to you.
I think for me it means just having that delusional mindset that if you do this, this is gonna work. And when it doesn't work, you don't stop. You just keep going again and again
Mm.
and again. And just having that delusion that if I do this, this is gonna work. You believe it in your heart. Something gave you that conviction that if you do this way, you do it this way, you might not even get a full picture of what you're trying to do, but you know that you want to achieve this, and I can start from here. If this doesn't work, you still keep going. Maybe you're tweaking something along the way, and you just keep going until something clicks. I think that is, for me, an example of audacity. Just knowing that you can do this. We could also put it in the perspective of when something has never been done before, whether in your location, your environment, in your community, and you just feel like, I don't care if anybody has ever tried this before and it never works. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna do it, and it's gonna work for me. And just having that delusion that people will call you like, bro, what are you doing? This never works, and you just don't listen to them. You just like, I know this is gonna work for me. I believe strongly that I gotta do this, and you just keep going. For me, I think that is audacity, just having that delusional mindset that this can happen, this can work.
Absolutely. You have to be delusional. I think people call it delulu
Yeah,
or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Africans say,
You
yeah,
have to be,
yeah, delulu. What's going on?
yeah, you just have to be delusional about what you believe. And from what you said, audacity is the courage to keep going, even when you're unsure of the outcome,
Mm-hmm.
which is really powerful. Because many times you're not sure of what is at the end of the road. And I strongly also believe that whatever God wants us to do, whatever He has placed in our mind to do, you need audacity to be able to get it done. Just thinking about someone like Gideon,
Mm.
God called him a mighty man of valor, but Gideon didn't see
This
himself as
mighty man.
someone that was a mighty, yeah. And not until when the angel appeared and told him, no, the angel even called him mighty man of
Mm.
valor, where he was busy hiding. And I think that's the way a lot of people feel. What Gideon was basically experiencing at that point in time is what we typically call imposter syndrome.
Mm.
Am I qualified enough to be in this place? Am I qualified to be in this room? We've spoken about one of the reasons, which is fear of the unknown. But I also have a question because it's quite dicey.
Mm.
One of the ways that I know people build influence is through credibility, what you've
Mhm.
done, right? Your character as well. Now, do you think people need to be well qualified or to have built enough credibility before trying to maybe coach or teach someone on those subjects areas?
Hmm. Good question. I think it's more of the level at which you're trying to coach someone. So if I might put it in a perspective, you can be a math teacher at a nursery school versus a math teacher at a university, right?
Right.
But the truth is, the student that is going to become a student at the university needed the teacher at primary school to to give him basic knowledge of mathematics that will help him qualify for secondary school, and the one that will now take over in secondary school teach another you know level of mathematics that will take you to the uni where you're now speaking to professor about advanced maths and things like that. So, so your primary school teacher might never even be a professor or a master's degree holder or a PhD holder in mathematics, but still teaching you mathematics. So I feel like it kind of depend on the level. I think anybody can teach, but or anybody can mentor. It's just at what level, you know. I can mentor someone who is looking forward to get to my level, but I can mentor someone who is trying to be the next president of the United States, because that's not what I have done, if that makes sense. Like, or I might put
Right.
it that, you have an ambition to become an engineer, but later on down the line, you want to become a president of the United States. I can give you some pointers now at this point in your life that you want to become an engineer and mentor you. When you become that engineer, you're good to go. I'm probably no longer your mentor. Now you're looking for a politician that's going to be your mentor. So I think anybody can mentor, can teach, can help give guidance, you know. But it kind of depends on at what level in your life is that advice or that guidance or that teaching applicable for. I hope that kind of answered that question.
Totally. I think you are very correct because I see a lot of people on social media trying to teach people something they haven't done yet
Hmm.
before. That is not wrong. For example, I see some bios that says helping your business make 200K monthly
Mhm.
revenue. Meanwhile, you check their page, there's no credibility to show that that person has actually made 200K monthly
Hmm.
revenue. Obviously, the person might have some information, but that credibility to influence someone that is willing to get to that next level
It's not there.
is not
Mhm.
there. It's not there, like you said. And that's why I also think that if you're going to be audacious about something, there also needs to be wisdom in how you go about it. Because that is like the difference that I see. And so I just want to ask you because now some might just be thinking, okay, if I have to be audacious, looking at it from a broader perspective, that if Audacity was a recipe, what are going to be the ingredients in that recipe?
I would say if we kind of break it down, say number one, having that delusion that we talked about, you know,
The Lulu.
that delusional mindset that, man, I don't care what anybody thinks. This is going to
Right.
work. We're going to do it. You see, the universe has this old mindset of this old energy of, honestly, if you do, especially in this day and age of social media, you can be anything. It's so crazy.
Mm.
You can do anything. I've seen someone act like a fool and they use that pretty much to be making millions in terms of
Wow.
like comedy. Back in the day, you can be acting like a fool and you become a celebrity and you're rich off of
Right.
it. Nowadays, you could do anything, bro. You could go on Instagram now, on TikTok Live, and be acting like an idiot, and people find it funny and they want to come back for your page. You
True.
can you can have any idea right now, and if God gives you an idea right now, no matter how ridiculous you think that idea is, I promise you there are some silly people that will like that idea. The question now is, which is the other ingredient that I'm going to mention. Are you patient enough to start seeing some form of momentum and result from your delusion and your faith? Are you patient enough to see the result? I remember when I was posting content, there was a time I was posting content, nobody checks it out or anything like that. But when you know that I believe that what I'm doing actually sounds good, actually makes sense. Why are people not liking it? Okay, move on to the next one. You do another one, you do another one until people start gravitating to the fact that, man, it looks like there's something here. This guy knows what he's doing. But I think a lot of times people start something, they're looking for instant response. Some people are lucky like that, that they will get instant response to what they are doing, and people like it ASAP. But there are some people that you can't stop. You have to try again, try again, try again until there's momentum. And once the momentum now comes, you use the momentum to continue to fuel yourself. But
Mm.
you need a lot of patience, man. You have to just be very patient with yourself and just like, okay, This is gonna work. That is settled. This is the idea. God gave me this idea, and like we said, there's almost anything right now that you want to do, yeah, you can do in this day and age. Like, just have that belief that this is gonna work, and it's gonna work. You know, whatever the idea it is. So get it started, break it down, get it, start going. Start going, and have the patience to see the result in terms of, okay, when will we start seeing any form of momentum here? And the last thing is, have faith in yourself as well. Hold on to something. For me, my faith as a Christian is one of the things that gets me going. When the momentum is not there for what you're doing, and you are feeling exhausted, feeling tired, feeling thinking this is not working, you have to be able to lean on something as well. There has to be something you can lean on. You can lean on friends, you can lean on mentors, you can lean on people, your family, your spouse, people who encourage you, who believe in your vision, who believe in your idea. So once you have those, three things, that delusion to believe in your idea, the patience to see the idea start gaining momentum and traction, and the faith in yourself, and faith, people having faith in you, leaning on your network, leaning on your faith as a, maybe as a Christian, or in whatever you believe in, as a superpower that can help you stay grounded and knowing that you can get this done. Those are like the three things that I know can help you, achieve your audacity, that crazy goal, that goal that requires a total mental shift, where people would just be like, man, for you to go through all of these and get this done, you have to have this crazy audacity. That's how I see that.
I totally love what you said, from delusion to patience and belief, radical self belief, understanding that our audacity it begins basically with our belief. What do we really believe in? Like, what's our faith level? And you spoke about patience, and that's totally right. Audacity might be how you begin to plant that seed of what you want to do, but patience is how it grows. And I think that's where a lot of people miss it, because they be like, oh, I have started this thing, but I'm not seeing the growth. I'm not seeing the numbers. People are not liking my video. If you're a content creator, for example, obviously, sometimes you might be doing something wrong and you might not be, but that's patience to keep evolving and iterating through that process. I think that's how you become better at what you do. And, still talking about patience, I think without patience, you can't build anything that will last. Because you rightly hit it on. And that is something that, if anyone is listening to us right now, if you're going through any situation or you're trying to build something and it doesn't look like it's working, just keep at it, right? Provided you know that's like the vision that God has given to you. And you spoke about delusion. That delusion, I'm so big on it, that be willing to be a fool towards the achievement of your goal. And for someone like me, I have come to realize that not everybody will support me in my vision, but once God gave me a vision, I try to run with it immediately. And even if I don't have like the required skills to get it done, sometimes I try to learn, leverage mentorship just to have that required knowledge that I need to get to that next level. And thank you for sharing that. But in our quest for more, I think some people might confuse what audacity mean, because we are believers. So how can you differentiate? And I think we've touched on that before, but how can you differentiate between a healthy ambition about what you want to do and a destructive comparison?
I think one of the ways to pretty much solve this is in terms of knowing what to go for and knowing what you think. you're not ready for. Nothing is impossible for you as a
Right.
person to dream of. If you want to be anything, you know, you can be anything. The question is, how do you want to get there? So, if you have an idea right now and you are not able to break down how you want to get there, and you can't find anybody that can help you give information about how you want to get there, keep that idea in your back pocket and start thinking about it, because any idea that you don't have any form of, you know, breakdown to achieving, it's going to be very difficult. That's my opinion. Like, it's going to be very difficult when you have an idea, you can break it down. How do you want to start? You want to become a billionaire. Okay, how do you want to start? How do you what do billionaires do? Billionaires don't work 9 to 5. They own businesses. How many business do you have? How many streams of income do you have? Okay, I only have one stream of income now, which is my 9 to 5. All right. So now we need multiple businesses of income, multiple streams of income. How can we start business? What do you know that you can start building as a business? Okay, the next question is, now we've built two businesses. How can we scale these two businesses into 10 businesses? How can these existing two businesses grow and make more money? Right? If you can break down anything that is coming to you as a delusional idea and you don't know how to get there and it's so confusing, keep that idea in your back pocket and keep thinking about it, keep praying about it. But so I'm not going to say like don't throw the idea away. Maybe the technology to
Right.
achieve it is just not ready. And now we are in an era of artificial intelligence right now, where in the next few years there might be possibilities that you've never thought about, right? So don't throw the idea away.
Absolutely.
If you have an idea right now that you don't know what to do with it, keep it, write it down somewhere on your phone, on your notepad. Write the idea down so that you never forget it and keep thinking about it until you are able to figure out how to break it down into a place where you're going to achieve it. So every every audacity, every form of action that requires audacity also has a form of step by step approach to it, like breaking it down into layers of activities that will help you get it done. In the Bible, for example, there was the woman that had this faith of touching this just the tip of Jesus's robe and believing that by touching that robe, she's going to be healed. And okay, that was the crazy idea. How is she even gonna get close to Jesus? All right, I gotta look for the path that Jesus is usually going to take when he's going somewhere. I'm gonna go stay on that
Mhm.
path. I'm gonna hide somewhere. I'm gonna lobby my way around the crowd and touch him. Another one, Zacchaeus wanted to see Jesus. He's a very short man. He broke it down. Okay, how am I going to see Jesus? How is Jesus going to see me? Let me go climb a tree. Let me go stand along the path that Jesus is going to walk through and go stand on the tree. And when I stand on that tree, he's going to be able to see me. I'm going to be able to see him. You know, the blind man wanted to get healed. I want to get healed. I know Jesus is coming to town. I'm going to go stand on the road and I'm going to shout his name until people are going to tell me, shut up, keep quiet. Why are you shouting? But I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep shouting until he hears me. So breaking it down into step by step approach of how am I going to get there? I want to, I want to get this kind of job. The people that are getting this job right now, what is the qualification that they have? How do I get
Absolutely.
that qualification? All right. So the people that get this job right now, they have MBA, they have masters, they have bachelor's degree. I am I haven't finished my bachelor's. Now I gotta go complete my bachelor's. I gotta go do my MBA. I gotta get some experience in that field. And I have to build my experience level to that level, and things like that. Network with the right people, be in the right rooms. So break it down into layers. And I think people by the time people break it down into layers, they get overwhelmed when they see the activities and when they see the amount of work it requires to do it. So don't get overwhelmed. Break it down. If you can break it down and you have no idea what to do with that, and there's nobody in your circle that you trust to help you break that idea down, keep it in your back pocket, keep praying on it, keep researching online with ideas and tools that can help you, you know, get that idea down. Even ChatGPT right now can even help you. If you have any idea right now, put it in there, like break it down for me, how to start. This is where I am right now. This is what I do. This is the experience that I have. I want to do this thing. Can you break down, give me three different approach on how you think from where I am to where I'm going? How can I get there? You know, things like that. Yeah, those are kind of like the tools that you can even use to kind of generate some ideas to help you break down your own idea to getting it done. So in this day and age, there is almost anything impossible. Nothing is impossible right now. All you need to do is you have a stupid idea, you have a crazy idea, break it down into pieces and get to work. Don't get overwhelmed by the amount of work you're going to see, because you might see loads of work. Just enjoy the journey
Absolutely.
and just get to it. Don't get overwhelmed. See it as a yearly goal. Don't see it as I gotta get this done in 5 years. Elon Musk didn't become a billionaire just like that. Like there are
Right.
years to it. You want to get on YouTube, you want to have 1 million subscribers. Don't start pressuring yourself like, I want to get that 1 million subscribers in in a year. No, you're not going to. I mean, if you're gifted and talented in terms of comedy and a lot of content and you're pumping out content, maybe you get there, but it's not always that fast. Break it down into goals. Okay, I want to get to 1 million subscriber. I'm at zero right now. Let's give this a 10-year goal, 10-year plan. Year one, let's get to 500 subscribers. Break it down. Year two, let's get to 5,000 subscribers. Year three, let's get to 25. Year four, let's get to 75. Year five, let's get to 200. Right? Year six, let's get to 300. Now let's get to 500. Year eight, let's get to 800. Year 10, let's get to 1 million. Now, let's go back to year one. What do we need to do from 0 to 500? How many videos in a week do we need to post? Do we need to post three long form content? Do we need to post three long form content and one daily short form content? No, and you test that theory. So, year one is 500. Break it down into months. Okay, so if year one is 500, how many do I need in a month? I need about, let's just say I need about, 45 in a month. Every other month, I need 45 subscribers. Take January, for example. How do we get 45 people to subscribe every month? We're going to post on YouTube, on TikTok, on blah, 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 and funnel that to YouTube. And we're going to post on YouTube two long form content. We're going to post one short form content every single day, or every Monday to Friday. We're going to post one short form content. When you do that for month one, does that get you 45 subscribers? Again, the goal was 1 million, but we've been able to break it down. So if I post my posting strategy, is it working? Did we get 45 subscribers this month? If we get 45 subscribers this month, then we are onto something. That means we will be able to hit our 500 by the end of the year. And once you hit that, you continue to scale, modify, you get better, you improve, and all of those. And by year 10, you get to 1 million. But don't start at year one thinking you're going to get to 1 million subscribers. No, you're not probably going to get to 1 million subscribers. Break it down into chunks of little, little goals. And once you hit your 45 mark in month number one, it gives you motivation thinking this formula is going to work. Let's keep it going. By the end of year one, you probably even end up with 1,000, maybe more than 500, right? You end up with 1,000. And if something is not working, start tweaking it, get better in terms of video delivery, learn about camera, learn about audio, learn about things that will help you along the way to get into your monthly goals, weekly goals, and break it down that way, you know, and just keep it going. So break it down, don't get overwhelmed. Don't think of the end goal like that, like that, like that. The end goal might even be too big, but there will be layers to it. So break it down into those layers and take each layer one after the other, week after week, month after month. And before you know it, 10 years down the line, I usually tell people whatever you want to do, give it a 10-year period. Give it a 10-year period. Like we're talking about at the beginning of this podcast, we've known each other for like 17, 18 years now. Like back in those days, I don't think we imagined we'll be here right now. But we had that
No.
dream that we want to become great, we want to be professionals, we want to be all of that. But we don't really know how we want to get there. And if we were just thinking about that end goal and not living in the moment and studying at that period, like you were talking about, doing the studies are the little things that's going to get you the grades. The grades are the ones that's going to get you the opportunity to go to grad school. The grad school, it gets you out of the country. You're in a new country now. You have access to different things, just layers upon layers, right? So break it down into layers. Don't get overwhelmed. Take each layer that you have, break it down into monthly goal, yearly goal. Focus on each month, focus on each week, focus on each day. I could go on that area of like breaking down things, breaking down your goals into achievable little other goals.
So many things to unpack from what you just said now, because everything you mentioned might just be someone
Mm,
deliverance for where they are right now. Totally. And one of the things I unpack from what you said is your audacity needs clarity of vision and it needs
mm,
direction. And even though you are beginning with the end in mind, you know where you want to get to, but you are breaking it down from day zero and you're taking it gradually. You're from baby steps to big steps. When you feel like it's not working, tweaking it, seeing the loopholes that are in your process and fixing it and continuous
mhm,
improvement
mhm,
generally. That is what I think many people do not do. People struggle with not knowing that if you are audacious about something, you need that clear picture
mm,
about who you are going to become, how you are going to become that person, and what are the steps, like you rightly mentioned, to get to that step.
yeah.
People just want to go from 0 to 100 in just 2
Mhm,
days, which is not
mhm,
possible. And that's why I think the patience factor that you mentioned in the ingredients for Audacity is so vital for every one of us, including myself, to learn, right? Another thing that just came to my mind is discomfort.
mm,
You can't grow out of a shell without it breaking.
mm,
So you need that discomfort as well. And I think you touched on it because there's no way you get to where you are without that discomfort, tolerance, that emotional stamina that you will need. And I think that comes from, for us as believers, it comes from our faith that you rightly mentioned. That's how we build that stuff. Then you also talked about something that, because as you were talking, I was just unpacking it. You spoke about modeling,
mm,
modeling what you have seen over the years, the people that are where you want to be. Like, for example, maybe you want to be like CFO of a company, for example. I would say, okay, I'll go check probably someone's different CFO LinkedIn profiles,
mhm,
look at their job profile over the years. How did they start? How did they go there? Do I need to take an MBA like you
mhm,
rightly
mhm,
mentioned? Breaking it down, I think that's the really essential thing. And I'm so glad you spoke on it, to be honest. I've seen you do a lot of both things over the
mm,
years. I mean, your YouTube. I remember when you started your YouTube page posting musical
mm,
videos, you know, and you playing the keyboard and I'm sure you never thought it would be as big. You had that vision of where you were
mhm.
going, and you still have that vision of where you're
Yeah.
going. But I'm sure sometimes you just sit there and think, how did I get here?
Mm, mm.
So
I still do, and I still, like I said, breaking down those goals, trying to get to where you're going, and having that little goals over the months, over the years, just to get you where you're going. It's very important. Developing the skill as well along the way, and just continue to enjoy the journey. You know, yeah.
thank you so much. And we're going to be rounding up. I just want you to leave something for our listeners. Someone might just be watching right now, probably in a state of confusion, thinking about, oh, I have this big dreams. You've rightly mentioned some things about it. Or maybe someone that feels like I'm just an average person. I'm not qualified
Mm.
enough to do some things that I can see that I want to do. What are you going to say to them as we round up the episode today?
What I'm going to say to that person is, number one, don't self pity yourself. In terms of the things that you don't have and you think they are the reason why you're where you are and you haven't proceeded, don't put yourself in that position of self pity. I promise you, no matter how bad you think it is, there are some people somewhere that may be having it worse than you. Some people would likely do anything to be in your position, to have the opportunity that you have right now. If you have a smartphone and you're listening to this on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, and on YouTube, you probably have no excuse. I'm telling you. I'm not saying it's not going to be challenging. It's not going to be, you know, gruesome. It's not going to push you, but I believe it's going to be worth it. So just have the belief that I can do this. I've seen other people rise, and I've seen them, uh people like, I'm from Ogbomoso. Some people don't even know where that village is, you
Moisture
know.
town.
But have a belief in yourself. Don't think age has passed me by. No, there are things you can do now. AI is there to even help you do a lot of things right now. You know, learn a lot of skills instead of spending time doing things that are not beneficial to your goal. Sit down, like we talked about, break down your goals and build skills and capacity that is going to help you get to where you're going. No matter how bad you think it is not that bad. You can still start from somewhere. If you have a mobile phone, if you have an access to the internet, you can learn anything, you can sell anything, you can you can be anything, you can package yourself into anything. There are thousands of tutorials on YouTube that can help you along your journey to get where you want to go. Uh to stay current as much as possible. See what the trend is, you know, see what the trend is in whatever field you're trying to get into. See how you can leverage on new technologies to become a different kind of person in that field, and just continue to just grow, continue to just grow, continue to just grow, and just don't pity yourself. Don't give up. Don't settle for less. Don't settle for less. Don't think the crumbs is what is left for you to take and go for it and be comfortable with it. You know, and some people have a dream of coming abroad or, traveling outside the country. When you eventually travel outside the country, what are you going to do? How are you going to integrate into the society? What kind of job are you going to do? Don't travel out of the country and you get to where you're going and you just fold your hands and you do shift work all night, all day. And 3 years, 5 years, you're still doing shift work. You've not started anything about your career. You're an educated person. Probably they gave you that visa because they see you are educated and you're going to contribute into the community. Now you're here because everybody's doing shift work. You started shift work and you're not leaving the shift. Shift out of that place, you know? So don't pity yourself and don't stay in that location. Just have that mindset that with Audacity, I can get out of this place. I can get out of here. I can change my own story. I can change my destiny. And yeah, just continue. We're rooting for you and we believe in you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Moses, for coming on the Inside Zone podcast.
Thank you for
We're so
having me.
glad that you
Thank you.
came, and wow, what a conversation. If you are listening to us right now, please do share this episode with your friends, your family. Share it with your workers, because I believe you know someone out there that really need to listen to this. And if you've listened, take some time, listen again, soak in the information, and begin to basically put in some practical steps on how you will get to your goals. And today we've come to the end of the show. If you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe to at the Kenny Adeleke on YouTube. Follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And yeah, we've come to the end, and see you guys on the episode.
Right.
Bye.